Hi guys, and welcome back to reviews, fixes and hacks. And what I've got today is a 1.7 CDTI. It's a Vauxhall diesel. They're all very similar. The many generations of these 1.7 Isuzu engines. But anyway, the main purpose of this is I've got a coolant leak on this on the motorway. All of a sudden engine started overheating, no hot air coming through the heater. So pulled over into a service station and realized that the coolant was really low. So just having a look around, I did notice at the time that there was water. So I'm just going to try and see if I can spot it now. There's water in that sort of region, and if you look at it, because I was actually, the way I came back on the motorway was I kept filling it with coolant, stopping at a service station, or water should I say, stopping at a service station, filling it with water, driving for about 20 miles, stopping again at the nearest service station. And what you might notice is the coolant has sprayed everywhere, so everything is marked with the coolant colour. So this is just going to make my task of finding the leak much harder. But anyway, to get to this, I know the area. So the area of the coolant leak is somewhere in that sort of region. Whether it's pipe work, whether it's a gasket or thermostat, I doubt it's a head gasket. But just to confirm it's not a head gasket, simplest thing to do is just check for a mayonnaise sort of texture where oil and water mix. Now check within the coolant reservoir, and I know this is fine because I've already topped it up many times, but within that, under the cap, there's nothing to indicate a mayonnaise like structure or substance, so that's absolutely fine. And the other place to check is, and this will just confirm it's not your head gasket basically, the other place to check is oil filler. So just check underneath that, and I can see that's clear, nothing like mayonnaise. So no, perfectly fine. So I know it's going to be either the pipe work, something to do with these rubber pipes. You gotta bear in mind this vehicle is about, well, almost 20 years old. So given that, you do expect pipe work to perish. So this sort of pipe work, you expect to perish. Nothing lasts forever, and rubber just well, deteriorates over time. But anyway, to get to that, or to get an indication, likelihood is what I'm going to do is take out the battery, take out the battery tray. That will then give me decent access to, you know, have a visual or have a good look within that sort of region just underneath there. If I still can't spot it, then what I will do is, using jump leads, I will then leave the battery next to the vehicle just on the floor there, and then start the car basically using jump leads, connecting it to the leads on the car, and then seeing whether, once the pressure builds up, the engine's warm, could I actually then spot the leak. But anyway, let me get the battery out. Once I'm ready to actually inspect the leak, I'll come back. So, having taken the battery tray out, so the battery's gone, the tray's gone, I've not dismantled anything else, but straight away I can spot a water leak. And just trying to zoom in to see whether I can show you guys where it is. There it is. Now, I don't know whether it's that pipe that's leaking. You can actually hear the drips. There you go. So you can see where it's leaking. Now, the only issue I've got is I need to find out, is it the pipe? And if it's not the pipe, is it where the pipe is connecting to? And I'm not sure what it's connecting to be honest. I need to probably dismantle a bit more of the actual, well, the whole mechanism itself, to be honest. But anyway, what I might do is see if I can zoom out and get a closer inspection. So let's have a look, see if that gives me anything. I don't know if you guys can see anything there. I'm not sure I will be able to, but either way, I mean, like I said, what I will be doing is taking it further apart and then having a closer inspection. Now, the leak was coming somewhere along that pipe. Now, whether it's the pipe, whether there's something further up that's connected to the pipe, or where the pipe comes out from, I'm not quite sure until I've taken all of this apart. Now, to take this apart, I've had to get the throttle body off, which is now loose. I'm going to take the EGR off, the intake pipe, the turbo pipe. So this pipe is your turbo pipe. Here's the air intake. Here's the turbo outlet pipe. Sorry, turbo intake. And then this pipe from the turbo goes into the intercooler. So as you can see, there's quite a bit to do. So either way, to remove this, you undo the Jubilee clip, pull that out. There's a Jubilee clip that if you follow it around, you'll see just there. Now that the actual nut you can use, I think I've used 8mm socket. It's underneath. Undo that, and then 12mm socket here. There's another 12mm socket just there. You can see that just about there it is. So it goes just there where my finger is, there. And then this will come off. These just loosen, just get thin nose pliers underneath, clip them, pull them up. So just crimp them a bit, pull them up, and they just clips basically. Then that's out the way. Once I've done that, I'll undo one. There's two, and there's one at the bottom using a socket that's easily accessible with a small extension bar. Then the EGR, well, I'll come back to the EGR, but I know the intake will be loose. But anyway, to access this Jubilee, like I said, there's a pipe that goes from here to here. Now to remove that, again, it's Jubilee clips, and I've just left it to the side. There it is. And then hopefully I can remove the EGR. I mean, I'm guessing that'll be in a state, but once I've taken it out, I'll probably have to clean that up as well, and then get to work on the actual leak itself as well. But let's see how it goes. Once I've dismantled it, I'll be back. So here's the mode of failure for the coolant leak. So I've taken the pipe off. This is the pipe that connects to your heater matrix, and sorry, this is the end that connects to your heater matrix. It's a normal clip. You push this back and then just twist it, and it will pull out. But this, when you install it, so when I install it, I will push it in, and then to clip it into place, you just push this out. Now it won't push out until you've installed it. So once you install it, these clips here will compress slightly. I don't know if you can see the black clips. They'll compress slightly, and it will enable you to push this in, and that clips and secures it. And to take it out, you must push this back and then just twist it slightly, because it is quite stuck in there, to be honest. And then you just pull it out. But the part that fits onto, the EGR, this was. Let me just check it, because I think it was the EGR. Go back in. This is the EGR. Yes, it is. So if I just point out, you can see I've taken the pipe off, the one beneath it. So I'll point to it right now. Here it is. So there's the upper one. So this one's the outlet, this is the inlet. So you have to just push this back, and then when you twist it, it comes off. But obviously this is the one that I needed. But as you can see, I've removed it. The smaller part goes to your cooler. Where is it? There it is. You can see the empty pipe work. Let me just see there. So the smallest pipe goes onto there. Obviously I've shown you the inlet one, which is the heater matrix outlet. Heater matrix outlet. There's your smaller pipe going to the cooler, and then that other big pipe that was leaking, where the pipe has basically perished. So this side goes onto the EGR, and let me see if we can zoom in. You can see a gaping hole. So that's just basically had it end of life. And here's a new one. So a new one comes with a clip there. However, they haven't supplied a clip for the bottom one that goes to the cooler. And then obviously this is the outlet section. So there's the outlet pipe. But that's it. And now it's a matter of me just installing it again. Okay, that is called a normal fitting. And the way this works is, if you look inside, you can see those ridges there, just there. that ridge in the middle, that lip, just behind that lip, that ridge in the middle. Now that, so let me just get something to point to here. So the ridge I'm talking about is that groove there in the middle. That has to go over. Basically, when that goes over this connection on the pipe. So on the pipe, you can see, let me zoom in. It has to fit over. So I'm going to be able to push the pipe over that ridge there. When that goes over, then what I can do, or what I'm supposed to do, is this clip, you push it forward and that locks it in place. Now the problem I've got is I can't get this over the ridge on the pipe that I've just shown you, because that ridge sits, once it gets over that metal pipe, that ridge will sit into that groove, and when it sits into that groove, you can then push this part forward and it locks it. Now that's the problem I've got. It gets stuck, this gets stuck just before the ridge, and I can't get it over. I can't somehow push it over. Okay, here's the new pipe connected now. So you can see there's the two pipes. You got one on the top and one on the bottom. The bottom one is your new pipe. Now that you can see the leak, where the leak was. I'm just putting it all back together now. So there's the new pipe, it's been connected. If I go around here, you might just be able to, trying to see if I can zoom in. It's a bit difficult. There it is. So let's see if I can get my finger. So that's your new pipe. So you can see this is the section where the leak was. So where my finger is, that is exactly where the leak was, and now that is your new pipe connected. So all I'm doing is putting it all back together. And given that I had to take the EGR valve off, so there's the EGR valve, the throttle body goes here, or the throttle valve, sorry, and I've just cleaned out, obviously, given that I had to remove all of this. I've cleaned the EGR valve out, the exhaust gas recirculation pipe, which is this, cleaned all that out. That connects the intake. Unfortunately, the intake, well, that's a different job in itself, so I didn't take the intake off to clean it, but hopefully, you know, even without it, there is a noticeable improvement. You can see the gasket there for the EGR that connects to the throttle valve. So putting it all back together. Once I've done all that, I'll start it up and I'll show you the end result. This is the engine all put back together. It's starting. I've filled up the coolant, and now to leave the system, you basically put it full blast on so you put the heating on, full blast on the heating, so hot air, and then just fill it up and then let the coolant just basically just leave the cap loose. Now I don't want any debris falling in, so I've just placed the cap on top and now let the system run for a bit. Now what I would say is when you clean the EGR, the ECU sometimes will possibly leave the EGR open. I also clean the throttle body or the throttle valve. The ECU sometimes will close open and might have left it closed. So one of the ways to start it, I mean, I've used a jump pack, a no-code jump pack, and that seems to have done the job. If that had failed, then the alternative would have been to basically tow start it. I know there's quite a few people with issues to do with that. Once you clean the EGR and the EGR pipe, that it doesn't start. You'll hear a funny noise. It could be that there's some debris that's fallen into the actual inlet manifold. Fortunately, I didn't have to tow it, and just cranking it, and then eventually putting the no-code jump starter onto the battery terminals. It's got it started. So overall, a positive result. I'm just going to let it heat up through by idling it, and then just let the system be inside. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hope this sort of helped.
helps people. But yeah, please do like and subscribe so I can continue to make videos of this sort.